Hi everybody, we're back for another tutorial, another cooking lab. Today we're talking chicken, pollo, poultry, and it is barbecue season. I realize not everybody eats meat in our class, perhaps, but let's get into it. Let's talk about chicken, and we're going to talk about spices a little bit today too. Your breasts, you can get bone in or bone out, skin on, skin off. You got your drumsticks, thighs, and wings, right? That's generally what you've got. When you're baking a chicken, you always want to have the breasts up if you want to get a nice golden color. Same goes with the turkey. All right. You know that all poultry, except for duck, has light and dark meat. So your breasts are obviously your light meat and the rest is your dark meat. A little bit more fat running through those parts of the birds. So your leanest part of the chicken is the breasts. You guys have all seen too, when you get your rotisserie chicken, that your chicken may be tied up with butcher's twine. That's called trussing a chicken. When you truss a chicken, you are making it so that it will cook more evenly, so that the wings aren't hanging out and getting well overdone while the breasts and the rest of the chicken's still cooking. So you're making a solid mass. So you'd start with some butcher's twine, or you can soak, I just have some regular twine at home, and you're gonna turn your chicken around, okay, and you're gonna get underneath the tail, okay. Go underneath the wings. Wrap around the legs and tie tight. You can do a bow if you like. It sounds kind of gross, but. Okay, so the chicken has been started back here, went under the leg, went under the neck area, came back and wrapped around the legs here. I'll show you what more. Another thing that's done, and you guys have probably all seen this before, is laying bacon on your turkey or your chicken, more so turkey. That is called barding. Barding is when you add a artificial fat to a leaner cut of meat, especially the breasts, where there's not a lot of fat there to keep it moist. Lay bacon across it just to keep it moist while it's cooking. It keeps it moist. I'll show you how first to spatchcock a chicken to flatten it. And this is great for grilling on a barbecue because it will cook a lot faster. Some of you have seen a barbecued chicken, maybe beer can chicken before too, where inside where the tail is, you're going to put and rest your chicken on top of a beer can. And basically you'll want to, of course, open your beer, and that is going to steam the inside of the chicken, making it nice and moist. But otherwise, what I like to do is butterfly or spatchcock the chicken so that you can grill it fairly quickly. So if I'm going to spatchcock my chicken or butterfly it, I'm going to turn it over so that the breasts are down, and here we've got the tailbone. I'm going to cut on, you can either cut on either side and take the tailbone out completely, or you can just cut on one side using either kitchen shears or a large boning knife or chef knife. I'm going to use my chef knife, and I am really just cutting down the back. So I've cut down the back, and now I'm going to cut through a little bone that's at the top. So facing at the top of the neck of the chicken, I'm going to cut through a little arrow-shaped bone. I'm going to cut through that, and that's going to allow the chicken to completely lay flat. So I'm going to cut. So now I'm able to flip my chicken over, and it's completely flattened. So from here, we could put this right on the grill. We could rub this down with a dry rub. Today I'm going to do just a dry rub. And do I want to take this apart? I think I do, just to show you. So I'm going to cut off the legs and then cut off the breasts. I'm going to leave the bone in, obviously, in the leg, but I'm also going to leave the bone in for the breasts when I barbecue it. All right, quick side talk about spices. Last week I mentioned herbs when I made the veggie rolls or the garden rolls or the fresh spring rolls. Let's talk quickly about spices. Spices are great, add a lot of flavor. Some of them have a lot of medicinal purposes as well, great for your stomach, for inflammation, for headaches. Some are there just for aroma. Some are there are there for heat. Color is a big one too. Okay, so let's quickly look at this mix of spices. And we're going to talk about how you can make spice blends as well. One really common one is chili powder, and that gets used a lot in all of the cooking that you guys like in barbecues, in tacos, taco seasoning. You can basically make your own taco seasoning if you don't have a package of it. You should always keep it if you don't have it at home. By making your own spice blends as well, you can control how much salt you're consuming, because a lot of times there's a lot of added salt in those spice blends or mixes of taco seasoning. All right, chili powder, super popular. So what is the base of chili powder that gives it its color? Paprika, this one right here. Paprika on its own doesn't really have a whole lot of heat at all or flavor. It has a red color. Okay, it's from a very mild chili, but that's what gives chili powder its color. So, paprika. All right. What's the next ingredient in chili powder? The one that you'll smell the most in chili powder is cumin. Cumin, not human. Cumin. This is a really earthy spice, very delicious. When you smell it, you think of chili powder. On its own though, it's used in a lot of different spice blends in cooking. Cumin has a slightly lemony flavor. Its aroma is great. Taste is kind of earthy, not a whole lot of flavor. Paprika has more flavor. The next spice, garlic powder. You all know garlic powder. Garlic powder on its own is not salty. It's a little peppery. It's like a little spicy. Definitely. And one here too, it's not as common, but coriander, or from coriander seeds. You can use either the leaves or the seeds. The leaves are cilantro, but the seeds don't taste anything like the leaf. So those are your spices for chili powder. Really good to have on hand if you want to make your own barbecue rub or make your own taco seasoning. But if I were making taco seasoning to these, I'd also add salt and pepper. Pepper comes from peppercorns. Okay. It's the seed off of a plant. That obviously gets ground up. This is called a mortar and pestle. So it's bare on the inside and on the end of this pestle, so that when you grind it up, it really breaks the spice, so it starts to grind it up. And salt, lots of different types of salt. Salt, where does it come from? It either comes from the ocean or the water, or it comes from deposits in the earth where there once was water and it's dried up. Spices come from the roots, bark, berries, and seeds of plants. I think that's all of them, right? So paprika comes from the fruit of a plant, the pepper. Garlic comes from the root or the bulb of a plant. Coriander comes from the seeds. Some other examples, cinnamon comes from the bark of a plant. Ginger comes from a root. Turmeric comes from a root. If you want your spices to stay fresh longer, keep them in their whole form until you use them, and then grind them up in your mortar and pestle or in your bullet blender. I think coming up with your own spice blends is a pretty cool thing. I don't know, some people are really into it, like all those barbecue and pit warrior shows and all. I don't know what they are. They all have their secret spice blends for sure. So let me preheat my barbecue, and I'm gonna cut apart this chicken, rub it down, and get it on the barbecue. If you are a big barbecue fan, you may have a probe where you can actually insert the thermometer into your meat, close your barbecue and leave it, and read it from the outside. Look what I found when I was looking through my cupboards. Ethan and Magnus. When it's been, maybe say for that spatchcock chicken, when it's been about 20 minutes, I'm gonna insert this into a couple spots in the chicken, some of the thicker spots, or if I'm roasting a turkey, I'm gonna definitely test a few spots and make sure that it's reading at least 165, 170, 175. Right now it's at 72.2 degrees Fahrenheit, and my heat pump says 71, but that's just room temperature. Best way to keep yourself from getting any kind of foodborne illness or food sickness by cooking your meat properly. Also, what's so great about this is it lets you cook it to that safe temperature, but then not go way above it so that you don't overcook your meat. Okay? When it comes to steaks and so on, you can use a meat thermometer, but then you can also, once you've been cooking steaks for a while or fish, you can just test by how much spring back the muscle has. Really, you'll get to know what a raw or rare steak feels like, or a well done steak. It's gonna have a whole lot of spring back because protein becomes tougher as it's cooked. It coagulates, so a well done steak is gonna have a lot of spring back. So cut my second leg off. I am going to cut my wings off. All right, so I'm left with 2 chicken legs, which I could fabricate even more and cut off to have thighs and drumsticks, but I'm gonna keep these whole for the barbecue. 2 bone-in chicken breasts, skin on, and 2 chicken wings. Someone might enjoy those, but those are your tips. You're probably not gonna eat those, no meat on them, but you do have your wing and your drumstick for your chicken wings, so wing and drumstick. So I doubled up my spice blend, maybe tripled it, maybe threw in some maple barbecue seasoning. Now I'm gonna rub it all down onto the breast. You could also lift this up too if you want and get some spices rubbed on there if you want to. All right, here's my chicken all rubbed down. Got my tongs. I'm gonna head out to the barbecue. Right now I've got raw chicken on this cutting board, so when I take it off the barbecue, I'm gonna either put it on a brand new clean cutting board or clean plate, just to not cross-contaminate, make sure of that. And I'm gonna definitely use my meat thermometer, okay, and test that my chicken is done, but not overdone. Listen to that lovely sound, okay? So I got my chicken on the barbie, just naked right onto the grill. Okay, she's well done. Floating in between 179. Okay, there's your barbecued chicken. Tested everything, even the wings. This guy's well crisped up, got a little fire, little flames. There you go, you've got your legs, breasts, wings. Good thing about keeping the bone in too, with the chicken breast especially, it keeps the breast from sticking to the barbecue.